Hello student, Hemant Sir is here. Today we will understand the acidity and basicity concept of your acid, base and salt chapter. Okay, so this is very important that you have to remember. So what is acidity and basicity now? So we have to understand the acidity of, first we will understand acidity of basic, and or we will understand first basicity of acids. So we will understand now the basicity of acid first. So what is basicity of acid means? So let we have we will take example of HCl. This is the hydrochloric acid. Okay, so if we will dissolve in water, अगर हमने HCl को water में dissolve किया, so what he will produce or what it will produce? It will produce H positive ion plus Cl negative ion. So the basicity means the acid which produces the H positive ion which are replaceable. दैट मीन्स यहाँ पर जितने H पॉजिटिव आयन को हम रिप्लेस कर सकते हैं, दिस इज कॉल्ड एज बेसिसिटी. दिस इज कॉल्ड एज बेसिसिटी. सो व्हाट इज बेसिसिटी? द बेसिसिटी इज द नंबर ऑफ H पॉजिटिव आयन which are replaceable from acids is called as basicity of acid. So in HCl we can replace only H positive ion, that means it is the monobasic acid. So we will say it is the monobasic acid. It is monobasic acid. So I hope you have understood what is the basicity of acid. The number of H positive ion which are replaceable from the acid is called as its basicity. Okay, so this is the first example. So basicity of acid, in which we have first, that is monobasic acid, and which is HCl, because it have only one H positive ion which is replaceable. That means this is the monobasic acid. Now we will take example of H2SO4. It is sulfuric acid. ये क्या है? Sulfuric acid है. If we will dissolve sulfuric acid in water, what we will get? We will get 2 H positive ion and 1 SO4, 2 negative ion. So here this is the number of H positive ion. Here we have number of H positive ion is 1. So we can say the n number of H positive ion. Here this n is nothing but the basicity of acid. This is acid. H positive ion releases, that is acid, but number of H positive ion which is released by the acid is called as its basicity. Okay, so here 2 H positive ions which are replaceable from the sulfuric acid, that means it is the dibasic acid. So mono means 1, then dibasic acids. Di means 2. So example we have H2SO4. So from H2SO4 we can replace 2 H positive ion from the sulfuric acid. That's why it is called as dibasic acid. That means the basicity of the acid is 2. Here the basicity of acid is 1. So now we will take one more example, that is we have H3PO4. It is the phosphoric acid. If we will dissolve this acid in water, we will get 3H positive ion plus PO4, 3 negative ion. So here we are getting 3H positive ion. See here number of H positive ion is 3. That means we can say This acid is the tribasic acid. That means which we can replace 3H positive ion from this acid. So it is the tribasic acid, tribasic acids. So what is the example? It is H3PO4. It is phosphoric acid. So we have, on the basis of number of H positive ion which are replaceable from the acid, on that basis we have monobasic acid, dibasic acid and tribasic acid. So I hope आपको basicity of the acid समझ में आ गया होगा. Okay. So what is basicity of acid? The number of H positive ion which are replaceable from the acid is called as its basicity, and number of H positive. So on the basis of number of H positive ion which are replaceable from the acid, we have its three types. If we can replace one H positive ion, here we can replace only one H positive ion, that is, it is monobasic acid. What is dibasic acid? We can replace two H positive ion, that's why it is the dibasic acid. And from phosphoric acid we can replace 3H positive ion, that is the tribasic acid. Okay. Likewise we will understand about the acidity of bases. Okay. So now we will understand acidity of bases. Okay, or we can say base only. So like we have NaOH, it is sodium hydroxide. So when we will dissolve sodium hydroxide in water, we will get Na positive ion plus OH negative ion. So here we are getting one OH ion. So we can say NOH ion. What is N? It is the number of OH negative ion. Okay. This N is called as acidity of base. It is the base. It is sodium hydroxide is the base, but when we will dissolve in water, so here the OH negative ion we have only one, that means we can replace this OH negative ion to other, that's why it is released as one OH ion, that means it is the monoacidic base or mono acidity of the base. So N is the basicity of acid, acidity of base, acidity of base. So this N number represents the acidity of base. So we can say it is the monoacidic base. It is the monoacidic base. So here we have first type, that is monoacidic base. In monoacidic base we have example NaOH. When we will dissolve in water, we will get Na positive plus one OH negative ion. OH negative. So here we are getting one OH negative ion. That means it is the monoacidic base. Now second type. It is the second type. We will take example of magnesium hydroxide, MgOH twice. If we will dissolve magnesium hydroxide in water, so what we will get? We will get Mg2 plus ion and 2 OH negative ion. So here 2 OH negative ion, this 2 is nothing but N equals to 2 that we have considered previously. So N is what? It is the number of OH negative ion which are replaced from the bases. So this N is nothing but the acidity of base. That means it is the diacidic base. We have N equals to 2, and what is N? N is acidity. Acidity. Okay. So we have 2. That means it is a diacidic base. So second type we have diacidic base. Example we have magnesium hydroxide. When it is dissolved in water, it produces 2 OH negative ion. That's why it is the diacidic base. Okay. Now we will understand the third example over here. This is the third type. In your notebook you have to write it properly. Okay, I am writing on the board, but you have to write properly on the notebook as what is the acidity of base. What is acidity of base? The base which have number of OH negative ion which are replaceable are called as acidity of base. It has 3 types. Number 1 is monoacidic base. We have definition: when only one OH negative ion which is replaceable from the bases are called as or is called as monoacidic base. We have example here. Okay. Then second type is diacidic base. What is diacidic base? The base which have 2 OH negative ion which are replaceable are called as diacidic base, and we have example over here. So here n equals to 2, that means it is the diacidic base. Now we have to understand the third part. It is the triacidic base. So the name itself represents as there are 3 OH negative ion which are replaceable. So we can take example of AlOH thrice, aluminum hydroxide. Aluminum hydroxide. So if we will dissolve aluminum hydroxide in water, we will get aluminum 3 plus ion and 3 OH negative ion. So here n equals to we have 3. N equals to we have 3. That means it is the base which have 3 OH negative ion which are replaceable. That's why it is called as triacidic base. Okay. So here we have completed our part, today's part, which is the acidity and basicity of the acid and base. So we will overlook once again. Okay. So what is basicity of acid? The basicity of acid is the number of H positive ion which are replaceable from the acid is called as basicity of the acid. We have 3 types. On what basis? On the basis of number of H positive ion which are released or which are replaced from the acids. So if we can replace one H positive ion, which is mono, if we can replace 2 H positive ion, then that is di, and if we can replace 3 H positive ion from the acid is called as tribasic acid, and we have examples here also. Okay. And what is the base acidity of base? It is the property of the acid which can be replaced the number of OH negative ion. OH negative ion is called as acidity of the base. Okay. So on the basis of number of OH negative ion which are replaceable from the bases, we have 3 types. Number 1 is monoacidic base. What is monoacidic base? If we can replace only one OH negative ion from the base is called as monoacidic base. Okay. Here we have the example with reaction. If we can replace 2 OH negative ion from the base is called as diacidic base. If we can replace 3 OH negative ion from the base is called as triacidic base. Okay. BASE. Okay. So here we have completed the acidity and basicity of the acid and base. So it is very important part that we have to understand and remember. So in next video we will understand the strength of acid and base according to the pH value. pH value is nothing but the power of hydrogen, or we can say the potence of hydrogen. So for that we have to understand the pH scale. So it is very important. So you have to attend the next session by tomorrow. Okay. So this is all about the acidity and basicity of the acid and base. So आज के लिए इतना ही, मिलते हैं हमारे नेक्स्ट वीडियो में.